Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are back in the A320 and we're going to be heading back over to Denver, Colorado with American Airlines 3310. And unfortunately I was going to use Pilot to ATC, but it's still not working. I tried to use just the radio commands using the UI or the user interface provided by Pilot to ATC, but it wouldn't let me transfer the active frequency. So no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't get ATIS to go away once it was selected. It was really buggy. So unfortunately, we'll try it again, and we'll use it when we're flying a different aircraft. We are using the experimental version of the A32NX as of January the 30th. I updated it before this flight, so hopefully we have a good time. I'll be displaying the printer functionality as well as the new rotation law that's been put into effect in the experimental version, which is going to be really exciting. And you can notice I keep saying exciting. There's another object within inside the cockpit that I'm happy to share with you guys. I think it's going to be really cool and obviously indicates that something is really on its way. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the seat and get this flight started. Alright, so right out of the gate, the first thing I want to show you guys is, drumroll, that. This is new, and notice that the hand comes alive once we mouse over it. So obviously there's something really cool coming. I'm hoping it's something similar to the Abby tab that we saw in X-Plane 11, but with these guys at Fly-By-Wire, there's no telling. They do such amazing things. It could be, the secret to life for all we know. Anyways, so I wanted to share that with you guys, but let's go ahead and get this aircraft powered on, start getting our boarding completed, and get the aircraft ready to roll out. So coming up top, we're going to start our batteries. And get IRS going, get that external power turned on. We're going to leave the fuel pumps off for now as we haven't fueled the aircraft. We're going to set our wing and logo lights on, seatbelt signs, and turn on the power off electronics, no portable devices, crew oxygen supply, and the emergency exit lights set to armed. Now let's go ahead and come back down to the front cockpit. Get some lights turned on. Displays turned up. It's a nice morning flight. Nice cool air out. We should have a relatively smooth flight up to Denver. Alright, now let's get into the nitty-gritty of this and get our weights and balances set up so that we can continue with the startup process. Alright, so I already created our flight plan in SimBrief. If you don't know how to do that, by all means, guys, watch any of my A320 videos and it walks you through it step by step. I've got tons of them back there. And then with the SimBrief integration that's offered by the A32NX, you can actually have a lot of this information populate for you. Now, I've noticed the fuel seems to work flawlessly, but the payload doesn't load automatically is what I have been finding. So I don't know if that's a bug, if that's new, whatever it may be. But I'm going to take this off screen here. Let's get into our weights and balances, and we're just going to load it all real quick. So we're going to set that over to pounds, and we are looking for, on the payload, 41.3 thousand pounds. So we're probably going to take this about 57% if I were to take a bet. Oh, maybe a little higher. Why did the jetway go away? Get over here. Alright, that was different. And then on the fuel, since we're here, we were looking for 12,254. So let's see what we can get down here. Not too bad. 16. 14, 13, 12, so close. That was 29. I think I'd rather go with a 30. We'll rather have too much than enough. And plus, we can reset that. Now, notice that our center of gravity is way too far forward. So what we're going to do is let's try taking 5,000 pounds or so from the forward baggage and put it into the rear compartment. There we go, that's better. It gives us right about 30% there. Why does that keep happening? Get over here. Crazy? We're not leaving. We're not going anywhere. No one told you to do anything. Knock it off. Anyway, alright. So now let's go ahead and get the aircraft set up. Alright, so coming into the FMC, let's go ahead and clear this line here. GPS primer just means the IRS alignment is complete. Let's go to our ATSU page here, go to airline operations here, and check our ATIS. And we're going to go for Kilo Tango Uniform Sierra, drop that up in the top there, and hit send. While that's going on, we're going to be waiting for a company message. Oops, let's come back down here. And let's set our, we're going to simulate we got our clearance. So we're going to go for a transponder of 0425 today. Throw that onto auto. Leave everything in the off position for now. Flaps are retracted, speed brakes are disarmed, doors unlocked. Predictive wind shear is off, weather radar is off. Looking good. Parking brake is set. Alright. We should have our company message by now. We do indeed. Let's go ahead and return to the AOC menu. Received messages. There's our ATIS. We can hit print. Love this feature. You can see now we have a printer that comes up. Now you can click this right away if you choose, but I don't know. I feel like I'm shortening the experience if I do that. There we go. Let's tear that off. From there it moves it up here into the front panel. And we can see our altimeter is 3017. So while we have that in the head here, we're going to throw that up into the box. 3017. It's quite the altimeter today. Alright. Almost 2,900 feet. Wow. Alright, let's come on back down. And now we're going to go to the initialization page and hit initialization request. Uplink's in process. Sometimes I'll get that. Just give it a minute. Typically it'll populate. If not, we'll give that another tap. There it goes. And now we're just waiting for the flight plan to be entered. While it's doing that, we'll go ahead and go to the MCDU menu, back to the ATSU page, back to AOC, performance weights and bounces, and just make sure we got everything matched up pretty closely. So yeah, we've got 12,254 there in the box. And pushing on over here, 41,000 pounds. Center of fuel weight, or zero fuel weight center of gravity, about the same we had. We had 29.31. They're rocking 30.0 here, so it's probably just rounded up. Flight plan has been loaded, as we see F plan uplink. Goodness gracious. So let's go ahead and go back here. Now our flight plan is complete, meaning that all the waypoints in between the two locations is done, but we still need to set up our departure. Now luckily for us with let's check our departure runways. 11 left. Good. So we had for the flight plan and sim brief. So KTUS, we're just going to set for 11 left. We're going direct to Sierra Sarah Oscar. So we don't have to put anything in here. Notice transition points are empty, SID is empty, so we can just hit insert. Now let's move on down to K Denver. This one we do have an arrival. This may change as we come into the approach, but we'll see what happens. Looking at our sim brief, let's find our flight plan routing. Looking for 3-4 left from the T-bar 2. Let's pull that on down here. 3-4 left. Oh, no, we can't do it. Just go all the way down, huh? T-bar 2. And we're looking for the Florida transition via the Gindla. Make sure you do this again when you change it from what it wants. Was it 3-4 left? Back to T-bar. To Florida. Gindla. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Back. Ah. Darn it, it had it, and I shouldn't have clicked it. Try that one more time, third time's a charm, right? 3-4 left. T-bar 2. Oh, damn it. And once again, I double clicked. See if I can change that. T-bar 2, there we go. Florida, there we go. That's what I wanted. And Glenda is what we're looking for. Gosh darn it, why do you make me do this? This can't be normal. Hopefully I get it right this time, guys. 5th time's a charm, 4th time's a charm. T-bar. Florida. Glenda. God, hit the insert button. Okay, cool. So our flight plan is complete. Now let's go ahead and move over to the initialization B page. We've already entered in all of our weights, so we're good there. throw that guy in there. Block fuel. 12.4 is what we got on board. We're going to throw that into the box. Let it calculate. And move on to the performance pages. We're going to be using flaps 1 today. We're going to be using toga, so we're not going to worry about flex temp. We're going to be using max power for takeoff. Set of transition altitude. We are in the United States, so 18,000 feet always. V1, V2 at 137. Bring that up. Throw it in the box in case at 147. So we're going to go V2 plus 10, and that's just to provide a better climb out. Some of the bigger aircrafts, the heavies and the supers, sometimes go plus 10 or go 15 or sometimes even 20. We're going to make our initial altitude up to 10,000 feet. Now that refueling is complete, let's go ahead and move up top. Get those fuel pumps spun up. Get the beacon light turned on. Get that APU rolling. And moving on down. Alright, our lovely flight attendants have confirmed that boarding is complete. So we're going to go ahead and get the cockpit door locked. Step up top here. Just doing a quick sweep. Make sure all is good there. APU is almost available to us. And there it is. We are set. Oh, almost. It's flirting with me. Come on. Go ahead and lock in our flight plan. We're on the display it. Set 20 miles on the range. And we are available. Alright. So at this point, we can disable the external power. Set the APU bleed for engine start. Get the jetway out of here. The jetway seems to be stuck here. It's alright, it'll get mad when we comes time to move it. You're just gonna hang out there, huh? Alright, that's cool. Yeah, it is stuck there. I'll be surprised if it moves. Anyway, alright, so forget the jetway. At this point now, we are ready to call our tug. So let's get our tug going. There it goes. Set the engine master mode over to ignition. Alright, and we can now start our engines. The chronometer rolling. Alright, let's set our parking brake. Tug's out of here. Thank you, sir. Engine 2 is ready. Engine 1 rolling. Reset that chronometer. Set auto brakes to max for takeoff. Taxi lights on. Predictive wind shear on. TCAS to TR. Spoilers armed in the event of a rejected takeoff. Flight constraints, flight directors. Constraints and flight directors. Engine 1 ready. Master mode back to normal operation. And we are ready for taxi. Alright, let's go ahead and set takeoff flaps. Alright, and we are ready to get out of here. Alright, got our clearance, we're out of here. Chronometer set. Pitching forward. So good. Off that center line. Try to line back up there. Coming off that forward pressure. V1. Got a 15 degrees. Positive rate, gear coming up. Autopilot engaged. There's the decel altitude. Thrust levers to climb. And flaps coming up. So we're going to go ahead and increase our climb. I didn't mean to hit that. It's one of my hotkeys on my keyboard. We're just going to go all the way up to our cruise altitude today. We're going up to 37,000 feet. Go. We are on our way up. Getting ready to pass through 10,000 feet, so I'm going to go ahead and shut the lights off. Oops, I forgot to turn the strobe light on. No, I didn't. I must have bumped the hotkey. I know I did that. Anyway, no biggie. Guys, so from here we're just on our way up to cruise altitude. Not a whole lot else is going to be happening here. The only difference is at 18,000 feet I'll be tapping that down arrow right here to switch this back into standard mode of 29902 for the barometric pressure. Other than that, we'll be climbing all the way up to cruise. We got about 2.5 hours of flight time, so I will catch you guys as we get closer to the descent for our next stage of the flight. Talk to you guys soon. So we are back and we are getting close to our top of descent. If you look here, we're currently at 37,000 feet, and by T-bar we need to be at or below flight level 200. So we're going to start our descent now. Spin this on down to 20,000 feet and go ahead and let her go down open descent. We'll be keeping an eye on our airspeed as we descend, make sure that we don't descend too quickly and overspeed the aircraft. The other thing we can do while we're here, save us a little bit of time, we can see if we can get our ATIS information. So we'll go to the MCDU menu, go to ATSU, AOC, ATIS again, KDEN is already selected, and just hit send. Return to the AOC menu and just hold tight here until we get our received messages up on the upper ECAM. Had a little bit of a bumpy ride coming over these mountaintops here. Got pretty crazy there for a minute. It was actually kind of impressive. So far it's been a pretty good flight. I think the only thing that would drive me crazy being an airline pilot is just, I mean, it's got to get boring up there. These kind of situations. Once you get up to cruise altitude and the autopilot's set, I mean, what do you do? It's what's nice having someone to talk to. It'd be a real shame if you didn't like the guy sitting next to you. That'd be bad. I really can't wait to see what's coming here. I'm so excited about that. so I'm just going to be monitoring the descent for now. Descending at 3,400 feet per minute at the moment. Looks like it's coming down a bit. But I'll catch you guys again as we get closer to the approach. Oh, actually, never mind. It popped up. I wasn't expecting to get it. We got a company message. I didn't think we were going to get it. Let's see here. ATIS. Excellent. Let's print that. And come on back to our printer. And to save time, we'll just tear it now. Come back up. Okay, Den. Let's see what we got here. Arriving runways 16 left, 17 left. Okay, so that's different from what we have in the system. So let's go ahead and make a change to our approach. Let's go to our flight plan, go to our destination, go to arrival, and we're going to use 17 left on the approach today. Still using the T-bar 2. That doesn't change. So we're going to grab that. Although we're going to be using the KAL transition. We're still going to use, or excuse me, the KAL via, and then onto the Gindla transition under the runway. Oh, damn. I already had that. I didn't need to do that. It was already selected. I'm just having a horrible time with this today, aren't I, guys? I don't think I've ever made this mistake this many times in the history of flying this aircraft. Alright, so we see then the T-bar 2 via the KAL on the 17 left. Let's go ahead and give it an insert. And if we're worried about it, we can sort of just, oh, there you go. Let's see what we're going to do here. Now, I will say this, something that has still been happening to me is right about here, once we get in line with the approach, the aircraft goes into approach mode and jerks off to the right. So I am anticipating that happening again. It's been pretty common lately. If it does, we're just going to, we're going to fly our plane. We're going to put it in heading mode and adjust it. So basically, once we turn onto this course, I'm going to make sure the heading pipper is aligned accordingly, and that way if the aircraft starts turning, we just pop that heading mode and she straightens back out. Let's see here. Let's enter in our destination information now that we have our ATIS information. So we're going to go to performance. We're going to go to next phase, approach, QNH, altimeter is 3013. Temperature is 1. Probably just typed 1, and winds are 2706 knots. Transition altitude again, always 18,000 feet in the U.S. Decision height, we're going to use 200 feet today. Sticking with the standard. And we are good to go. And once we hit the decel point, the approach phase will activate automatically, which I'm guessing is what's happening when we reach that point in the transition there. It starts to turn. Let's go ahead and back up top. There it goes. Alright, let's see if there's anything else we're missing here. We're looking pretty good. Descent speed looks to be okay. I'm surprised we don't have the overspeed bars anymore, but it's alright. So we're looking really good here. We're at flight level 20 here. So we're going to level off here. That way we're at our altitude at T-bar. Once we reach T-bar, we'll begin our descent again down into the approach side. So I'll catch you guys in about 80 miles. Alright guys, so we're about 20 miles from T-bar. And our next target is about Epic at about 14,000, steadily dumping down. So we're going to go ahead and put 14,000 in the box and start a managed descent. Notice I used just descent instead of open descent. And from here, I'm just going to let it cruise on down to 14,000, and I'll see you guys when we get there. At 18,000, I'll be switching the altimeter. Oops, when the hell did that happen? Huh, interesting. I wonder when I did that. Looks like in the previous recording. I have it mapped to one of my keyboard buttons, so I must have bumped it. Oops. Oh well. Anyways. So at 18,000, I'll be switching back to the altimeter using the altimeter information we have down here on our ATIS 3013. So there it is there. So now we'll go ahead and give that a tap. Set our altimeter correctly. Alright, and from here just continue smooth on descent down to 14,000 feet. So I'll see you guys when we get there. Alright, so we're 20 miles from Epic here. We're going to set our descent now to 11,000. Just keeping that heading bug on that new course just in case. And welcome to Denver. Alright, so we were cleared to 11,000 at Epic, but you can see now we're under altitude restrictions, so the aircraft's going to hold still here. However, I'm going to make our next... Oops, didn't mean for that to happen. Looks like our next target's going to be 10,000, 9,000, 9,000, so let's set it for 8,000 there. And we're getting close to the point where I'm going to be watching for that that bug where the aircraft starts to go into the approach mode way too early. And you guys can see why I typically reduce my fuel on sim brief. I mean, we're here and we have 6.9. It's crazy how some of the terrain looks great and some of it gets really washed out. Unless that's really how the terrain looks out there, I guess. As far as not really having any buildings or structures in this area. Yeah, so right in here is where I'm concerned about, so I'm going to start watching for that. Power's coming off, so I'm guessing we're getting ready to descend again. There's our airport right here. It's almost home, guys. And yep, it's doing it. That's the bug I'm talking about. It wanted to turn onto the approach already. I'm not sure what that's about. That's alright, we caught it. Now we'll just follow our course line. No biggie. Like I said, in many ways, things like this actually make it more fun for me because it just gives you something to do. Throws a little... It's nice to have the unexpected with the expected, you know? Teach you how to react quickly, gives you an idea of what it must be like when things do go wrong up in the sky. You know, at least we're just on a simulator. You know, I'm actually going to hold, well, I guess we can hold at 8,000. So we got 11,000 here. I wasn't expecting us to descend. I thought that we were under constraint here, but apparently not. So we'll just hold at 8,000 until we come around the bend. Easy peasy though. We haven't even reached the decel point, so the approach phase wasn't activated. I don't know why it's doing that. And you know what? It's done it to me every time I've made the approach into Denver that I can think of. Oh no, the stuttering's coming back. They've gotten so smooth. Let's see where we're at here. Oh, you know what we do need to do? Gosh, shame on me. Below 10,000 feet, we should have turned our lights back on. So let's get those on. I remember when I did that. I did that on the yoke on accident. Well, not an accident. I'm still getting used to having switches mapped on my yoke for the airliner. I've gotten such a habit. Everything I do is mouse click, mouse click, mouse click. So when I do something on the yoke or the throttle, as far as turning things on and off, I forget that I did it. It's convenient, but it throws you off when you've been flying, you know, point and click for so long. Speed brakes. We can set auto brake to low. We got plenty of runway today. In the grand scheme of things, we're not particularly heavy. Let's see how we're doing here. We're about 20 miles away, so we should see the ILS frequency get acquired here pretty soon. There it is. Alright, so in that case, let's go ahead and activate the localizer. You can see the localizer is already locked, so it's going to start steering us on to approach for 17 left. Start managing our descent down to 7,000. A little early in the game yet, but I'm going to drop flaps 2. Sort of help her out a little bit. About 14 miles from touchdown. And we're below the glide slope. So at this point I'm going to hold our attitude. Altitude, not attitude. I probably could have waited a bit longer for flaps too, truth be told, but it's alright. Not gonna hurt nothing. Alright, landing gear lights are on. We're on the glide slope. Alright, on the glide slope. We're on the localizer, on the horizontal. Just sort of biding our time for a minute. Coming up on about 9 miles. What we're going to do is we're just going to wait for the glide slope to come on down to our current altitude. As soon as it does, we're going to reach over here and pop the approach button. At that point, the aircraft should acquire the glide slope and the ILS and start bringing us down. We really are a little low, truth be told. Pretty low. I descended a little too quickly. And honestly, I still am a little nervous what's going to happen when I tap that approach button. Alright, so we're at about 6 miles. 7 miles. We're going to go ahead and go gear down. We're going to go flaps 3. Oh, no. Come on. Quit fighting me. There's the glide slope indicator coming down. Make sure we're in a good place to hit that approach button. Good enough for me. Let's give it a tap. And down we go. Glide slope is locked and acquired. And let's go flaps full. Approaching landing speed. I am seeing that. So according to the PAPI lights and our glide slope indicator, we're a little low. That's alright. Alright, landing. I'm going to take over. Disengaging the autopilot, disengaging auto throttle.
Minimum.
Landing.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Reverse thrust. Thrust buckets closed.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard, retard, 10, 5.
Alright, let's hold here. Let's clean out the aircraft. So, flaps up. Spoilers disarmed. Landing lights retracted. Strobe light off. Taxi light remains on. We're going to go ahead and start the APU so it's ready for us when we reach the gate. And I think we are set. Disengage the ILS, disengage flight directors. And turn off the approach mode. And guys and gals, I truly hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It's been a lot of fun making these for you guys. I'm loving the subscriber count. People seem to really be enjoying these videos lately, and I hope you guys continue to do so. If you're interested in learning how to fly the A320, don't forget I do have a very detailed guide on how to use it, as well as using it with the A32NX mod. You can find that by either donating to my PayPal channel down below with a link using $10 or more. Just make sure you specify the A320 guide is what you're looking for, as I also have a G1000 guide. Or you can grab either one of those guides, or both of them if you wish, by subscribing to my Patreon site. Also link in the description below for $10 or more. I really enjoy doing this content for you guys. I really hope you continue to find it useful. I get lots of good feedback, and it really makes me feel good about what I'm doing. So you guys keep watching, I'll keep making them, and I will catch you guys in the next one.